All right. Now you guys know you wanted to hear that. Jeff here at stopthepirates.blogspot.com. So anyway, um, every arrest and incarceration today is seizing the surety on a commercial dishonor. All crimes are commercial. We're under what's called grace and mercy or limited liability. And the other side of the coin would be execution of the law. Like you, and I think that was kind of the way it was in the United States for a while. Like it was a hanging offense if you stole somebody's cows or their horse. Um, you could actually walk outside and have a shootout with somebody, and if the guy started it and you had a good reason, you could. There was no problem with killing somebody in broad daylight. Now what they've done is they've commercialized everything, and everything has a value to it. So you're basically paying for your indulgences. Everything has a commercial value or a monetary value attached to it, and everything in the United States is illegal. Now, this is because of the bankruptcy. Why do you need a license to get married? And a license is something that you would need to get permission to do something that would otherwise be considered illegal. So to get married, what you're doing, it's a corporate merger. So you have to bring in the state when your husband and wife or whatever merge their corporation. And what you do is you bring in the state as the beneficiary of that trust, and anything that merger produces, such as your children, the state is the beneficiary of that. They get the benefits of that. So they own your children. And that's why it's illegal. You have to take your kids to their debtor programming training, their mind fuck indoctrination classes every day. And if you don't, they'll arrest you. Why? Because it's their child and they paid for it and properly educated and indoctrinated through the 12 years of the indoctrination. They're going to turn out 9 times out of 10 a valuable asset to the corporation. It's going to produce a lot of money for them. So anyway, every arrest and incarceration today is seizing of the surety of commercial dishonor. Commercial accounts must balance for commerce to function. It's not possible to retain only the debit side of a bank ledger. The offsetting asset side must be there for the books to balance the commercial account to clear. Otherwise, world commerce would collapse into a pile of mush immediately. So when you dishonor a commercial presentment with a citation or ticket or whatever, the offerer accepts your dishonor, undertaking a banker's acceptance and executing a bill of exchange. This bill of exchange is for at least 10 times the face amount and possibly 100 times. The one who accepts, being the creditor, is entitled to place whatever value he wishes on the transaction. And the counties that you live in run on these type of bonds. So in any kind of a county situation that you're in, the town that you live in, they all sell these bonds, and the bonds are based on commercial dishonor and putting people in prison because everything's illegal. And that's how they make their money. That's how they function. That's what it's all about. So now you must pay the full amount, or the bill of exchange, the bond, or the account remains open indefinitely. The case or the books never closes. And if you fail to pay in Federal Reserve notes to balance the books, then you are arrested and incarcerated as the surety or the collateral to raise the funds to balance the ledger. A lot of people don't want to hear about this information, and it scares them. They think you're anti-American because the brainwashing is so good and ingrained from the time you go through your debtor training, your debtor school. That's what it is. They teach you how to be a debtor. They don't teach you any of this, what's really going on in the world. Why would they? That would expose their game. They don't want to do that. So you balance the ledger. These funds are raised by borrowing via your straw man on the public debt for which you, the real being, are responsible for paying or discharging if you have not rebutted the rebuttable presumption that the king, the wizard, the bankers, the power, the elite, whatever you want to call them, owns your all capital letters name. You have no liability if the books are fully balanced. Performance on acceptance balances the books. This is one reason the prisons are so full. Another reason is that judges are part owners of the prisons. Yes, it's a giant fucking scam, man. I mean, when you really get into how deep and diabolical this is, you'll have to go somewhere and sit with yourself and kind of calm yourself. Okay, because everything you've learned up to this point has been a fucking lie. And you are a debt slave on the plantation. You don't have to be. I mean, but if you don't know about it, you will be. I mean, just think about it. I mean, it's crazy. So that's one reason why the prisons are so full. Another reason that the judges are part owners of the prisons. Yeah, they get a kickback. I have a copy of. Judges get a piece of every case that they adjudicate. They get like a commission off of it, and this all goes into offshore accounts. And I've heard one guy say, I mean, no self-respecting, even a traffic court judge, would retire with anything less than like $30 million in the bank. I know. These people have lots of money. So prisons are immense money-making operations due to the bonds raised against the strawman debtors of the people's collateral warehouse behind bars. High dollar amounts are attached to the bonds raised to incarcerate people. The prison industry is big business, constituting the major industry in California, Texas, and Florida. Prisons are just full, and they keep building them too. They don't build any like universities or anything. And I think in America, if you can manage to, if you're like a young man or a male, I think women might have a little, although there are incarcerating more women here than any other country in the world. We have more people in prison here than in China. I mean, people think China is like a communist shithole. But I think there are some people in like prison camps there. Millions of them. I don't know what's going on. They don't really count that, but pretty despotic. So if you have a bail bond, you can't proceed until you rid yourself of the bond, accept it for value, send it back to the bondsman, register the bond with the commercial registry as your secured property. Never confess who you are. That is bearing false witness against yourself. Some people advocate carrying no identification. If you are arrested, they have 2 hours to identify you. And if you identify yourself, they're allowed to hold you, provided you don't sign their paperwork or otherwise traverse for 3 days, 72 hours. That's the truth in lending, right of rescission. The general rule is therefore, of course, never tell them who you are. Why do their job for them? And don't ever sign anything. It's easier said than done, I know. I tried that, and unfortunately, I had a debit card. I didn't carry an ID. But where I live, it's such a prison that they have a hike and bike trail, and I was on the hike and bike trail like after you're not supposed to be out there at like 9 o'clock at night, and I'm just sitting there on the bench, and I didn't even hear him come up. This cop just comes up and hits all his legs at once. I was just, whoa. I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting there, taking a break from riding my bike, and gets out, starts questioning me, and I just sat there. And then next thing you know, he called his boss, And the next thing, before you know it, there's 15 cops around me. And I wouldn't tell them who I was, and they didn't know what to do. And I had my fucking debit card on my bike backpack, and they found it. And they're going through all my shit. And then all they have to do is type the name in their little computer, and there's my picture. So they got you. They're gonna have pretty soon like face scanning technology. It won't even matter. But until we get there, don't tell them who you are. Iris scanning. Yeah, but if it's serious, I wouldn't sign anything. Anything you do except comply, insofar as dealing with the police is concerned, is interfering with the policeman in his line of duty. What is his duty? It is revenue collection for the city. One of three things is needed to identify you: your date of birth, the day your vessel, i.e. body, was birthed into the 14th Amendment Public Charitable Sustakay Trust as a citizen of the United States, a corporate franchise lost into a voyage in commerce in the oceans of insolvency, i.e. unpayable bankruptcy. The other is your driver's license. The other is your social security number. Without any of the above three items, their job is difficult to impossible, especially with a 2-hour time limit. The judge's job is to get you to traverse, contest, and dishonor, and thereby make an offer which the judge can accept and thereby own. If you are hauled into court or forced to go under threat, do not offer and do not negotiate. If you reject, negotiate, or issue a counteroffer, you create a controversy. You perform a dishonor which the judge can accept. Concerning every offer a judge makes to you, accept it for value with the words such as, "Thank you for your offer, which I accept for value. May I have your name, please?" And you are acknowledging his commercial presentment and wanting to know with whom you are doing business and entering into a contract with. Thereafter, you must proceed with the remainder of the standard question and request, i.e., do you have a claim against me? Do you know anyone that has a claim against me? I request the order of the court to be released to me immediately. If the judge says, I don't have a claim against you, but I believe that the prosecutor does, you proceed with the three questions to the prosecutor. If he says the state of California, United States, etc., has a claim against you, say, can I call the state of California on the witness stand? I mean, these are just little things that people don't think about, and you look at it every day. It's like I was talking about yesterday. You can't plead innocent. You plead guilty or not guilty, and you can't prove a negative. So it's not about the facts of the case or anything. It's just, are you guilty? Are you going to pay or are you not going to pay? Do you understand the charge? They're not asking you if you speak English. Do you understand the charge? You say, yes, I understand. And then you say, well, I'm not guilty, and you're not going to pay. So you're just right now in contempt of court, and they're going to lock you up. And they have a 98% conviction rate, so there's no chance in hell you're ever going to get out of there. Plus, if you can't make bail, you're going to sit and rot in one of their fucking shitty little jails, which they make it intentionally brutal and uncomfortable for you to be in there. So you'll just do anything to get out of there. It's a total racketeering scam. Remember that when you accept their offer for value, you place the amount on the transaction, and they are required to perform and adjust your account. You are now the secured party, i.e. creditor. You are the principal, and the interest goes to you. All right, I'll cut it off there. More later. Like, share, and subscribe if you want. Thanks.